Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerJoob, and welcome back to our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series. So in today's video, the characters we're looking into are the Possum Party. So they all have individual names, being Pinky, Blue and Violet, but I'd like to see what names you could come up with in the comment section down below. As always, we'll go through these characters' gameplay mechanics, their backstory, their location, and all that good stuff as well. As always, I will just say that this isn't necessarily into the overall universe and lore of Fnaf. This is just a fun what if scenario and a cool creepy story we get to tell, and we hope you enjoy. And lastly, before we start today's video, do be sure to leave a like on this video as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also helps getting a lot more eyes on the video as well. Alrighty, well, let's get into the character concept of the Possum Party. So previously in our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series, we've been looking into the Fazbear Repair Center and all the dangerous characters that have come in for repair. The latest character we've seen was Billy the Bat. Billy was designed to be a secret death trap animatronic just like Circus Baby herself. Our night guard and repair worker characters have narrowly escaped Billy's clutches, but now they'll be up against a whole new threat once again. But this time it wouldn't be just one character. Instead, they came as a trio. So the new characters we're introducing are the Possum Party. The Possum Party are a group of 3 brightly coloured possums. There's Pinky, Blue and Violet. And all 3 of them make up the Possum Party. So funny enough, this trio of animatronics actually comes from the same pizzeria as Billy. The Possum Party was a part of all the nocturnal animals that occupied that pizzeria. They were a funny cast of characters that would bring presents to party guests and also hand out candy throughout the day. But they also had a role up on stage as well. The endoskeleton design of the Possum Party was quite flexible and nimble. They were able to do a number of different acrobatic moves while up on stage. The most impressive move they could do is hang upside down with their tails. This always entertained the guests the most. And it also leads itself to the actual animal, the possum as well, considering that they are known to hang from their tails out in the wild. The Possum Party were always considered to be well-behaved animatronics, but their curiosity would always land them in a world of trouble. And this time they've gone too far. The night guard who works at the pizzeria has claimed that the Possum Party has tried to attack them. But no one believed them. The Possum Party were completely harmless. Well, that's what the manager thought. But regardless, the Possum Party's latest stunt has landed them at the repair center. They were in need of major repairs, but the repair worker was nowhere to be seen. No one knew where they were. Unknown to all the others, the repair worker was teleported to the underground storage facility by the glitch entity. They've been trapped there ever since, and the entrance leading to the stairs was locked and they didn't have their keys. So if the repair worker was ever going to get out of here, they would need someone to come downstairs. So considering there was no one available to repair the Possum Party, Pinky, Blue and Violet would bring the party to them. They snuck towards the underground storage area where the repair worker was trapped. They located the entrance and made their way downstairs. The repair worker hears the door open up. Finally, they were free. They just need to make their way upstairs and get out of here. But they also realised something was down here with them. They grabbed their flashlight and made their way to the stairs. The only thing between them and the exit is the possums. So now we come to our first gameplay segment of the video. The player needs to navigate their way through the underground area, being careful to avoid the possums. Since this area is quite dark, the player needs to use their flashlight to navigate through this area. But whenever they see the troublesome little possums, they need to use the brightest setting on the flashlight in order to stun them. Their little eyes can't handle the intense light. But the player also needs to be careful not to waste the battery. As they get closer and closer to the exit, the Possum Party would get faster and faster. If the player isn't quick enough to blind them with the flashlight, it would be an instant jump scare. Finally, they reach the stairs. They quickly make their exit to go warn the night guard of what's to come. But unfortunately they forgot to lock the door, leaving the Possum Party to wreak havoc on all the other unsuspecting workers. The Possums loved it here at the repair centre. They didn't want to leave. Finally they had a home where they could act as mischievous and evil as they wanted. There was no more children that they needed to impress and make smile. Just unsuspecting workers that they could terrorise as much as they wanted. Finally they were able to be themselves. And they were excited to terrorise one more worker that they hadn't before. The night guard. They wondered if this night guard was going to be as fun as their other guard back at the pizzeria. There was only one way to find out. They had to put them to the test. Hopefully they would last longer than the other night guard that they used to play with. Meanwhile, later that night, the repair worker managed to warn the night guard. They handed them the flashlight and told them about the possum's sensitivity to bright lights. Hopefully this would help them survive the night. Speaking of the night, let's get into the final gameplay segment of the video. As always, the gameplay loop is based on the classic Fnaf formula of observation and management. So the starting position of the Possum Party would always be in the break room. They wouldn't always move as a group. Sometimes Pinky wouldn't be there, sometimes Blue, or Violet would be missing as well. Basically, the absence of one of the characters meant they were on their way to the security office. So the Possums can enter from all 3 doors at the security office. The player can easily close the doors on them, but if each door is occupied, the player can use the flashlight instead to save on electricity. But the doors weren't the only way in which the Possums would make their entry. On the ceiling above the player's desk was a loose panel. This is where Violet would try to make her entry and hang from the ceiling. The player would need to use the flashlight and try to stun her and send her back up. But they couldn't use the flashlight so quickly. They needed to wait until Violet's eyes were visible. Then they could blind her and she'd retreat. The player would need to stay on top of all the Possum's efforts to enter the security office. If the player gets overwhelmed and can't keep up, then they'll be greeted with a classic Fnaf jump scare. So I think the inclusion of the Possum Party would be quite interesting to see. It's always fun to have a group of characters that can plan and work together to terrorise the player. Their multiple different attempts to enter the office would certainly keep the player on their toes, that's for sure. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, do be sure to let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of the Possum Party and what you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty everyone, well, to the next video, I'll catch you later, bye.